Niall Mulligan, Mullo, good friend and foe at some stages. You're very welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Sean.
It's
Great to be here.
It's a wonder we're still talking after all the battles we've had over the years.
Yeah, it's stretched out a few years now at this stage, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It must be, well, our first, you probably don't remember, I played with Melview, and it wasn't really much of a challenge at that stage for you, but you had a serious schoolboy team then.
I do remember, actually. Was Conor Murphy on your team?
No, that would have been club level. He would have been Michael's, I think. But we would have been kind of weak enough, I suppose.
Who else was on that Melview team?
Brian Brady would have been there.
Oh, he was, that's right.
Bernard Riley.
Gotcha.
Who else? There's a few heads there that popping up from your neck of the woods, but yeah, we wouldn't have been that competitive. But I remember seeing your team in primary school and just thinking, wow. And actually, one of the memories that I actually have from it was, and I meant to say this to you a few times. I remember you running through with a ball, and you were like one-on-one with the keeper, and you fist passed it over the bar.
No, that's classic.
It was a clear goal chance, though, and you obviously went just to pop it over the bar. I could never understand that, but obviously, like later on in life from teaching a club, I see Colin Hart would tell people, when the team was on top, like maybe points only for the second half or something like that. But I never actually said that to you. But I just remember you fisting over the bar and thinking, what is this for that?
It's so funny you say that because I continued to do that for the rest of my career.
Well, you kicked a few over as well now in fairness. But I'd say the first challenge though we probably had against each other would have been probably under 14. Probably would that be when they kind of started our kind of rivalry?
Under 14, yeah, and under 16. And I always remember a really iconic photo of you and Aruna Canoe from an under 16 league final. Do you remember that photo?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, Aruna used to be a flyer.
Yeah, serious player.
Yeah, was that the under 16 final?
It was the under 16 league final because we were beaten in the championship. I think he played Kerry Sarsfields in the final of that. Did you?
In the minor, was it?
Yeah, in the minor, yeah, but in the 16, did you win the under 16 championship?
I don't think so. I can't remember. You beat us, did you not?
Kerry Sarsfields beat us in the quarterfinals or something like that. So
that was the minor. Kerry Sarsfields bet you in the minor. No, we bet you in the minor semi-final. Because I don't know who won under 16. Maybe we did win under 16. I can't remember.
I was going to move on to that minor game because we had an epic game with you in the park in minor that time.
Do you remember what year was it that I played? I marked you.
2004, I'd say, was it?
Did I play? But I think in one of the final, I think it was the under 16 final. I actually marked you. I played full back. The only time I ever played full back in my whole entire life. I played full back against you.
That could have been under 16, yeah. Because
I think that was the under 16 final.
I was midfield on the minor team, and then I think Carrick Sarsfields beat you in the minor final. Then did they?
Oh no, we bet you in the semi-final. That's what it was, and that wasn't supposed to happen. Really, like you were probably tipped.
Oh, that was somewhere. That was one of the toughest defeats I ever experienced as a young lad.
At the minor, yeah. Sure, the minor is just the pinnacle at that stage, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it is. And I remember.
Yeah, but I found out actually the semi-final coming in, and after beating you, and over the years it was always us and you in the finals. From I think it was under 12s up or under 14s, 16s, and you're always just beating us pretty comfortably enough, like. And then when it came down to that minor final or the semi-final, and we beat you, like.
Yeah.
I think that. It just sickened us to kind of leave it behind us then in a final. Like we went 9 points to 1 down at half time against Carrick Sarsfields, I think it was. They had a good team now, in fairness, as well.
Oh, they had, yeah. See, the danger was like when you probably got over us, you probably thought like that was it. That was
a little bit, yeah, and probably took that was the monkey off the back. You were thinking, but you probably didn't look at. They were good too. Should have had Shane Cox and who else? John O'Shea was a big lad back then, and they were good.
They were very good. Yeah, they were very good because they beat us in actually done 16 championships. Also, anyway, moving on. I'm just going to go through your accolades here. That's very impressive. 3 senior championships: 2010, 2011, 2013. Under 21 club championship. What year was that? The under 21 club championship.
I think that could have been. I was on the team that year, but you know what happened now? when I'm looking at that, I think that I could have been suspended. I got suspended at minor. And I think I may have missed that final because I think we beat Clongish. Colin Smith scored a point to win it in the last minute, but I think I would, if there was a replay the following week, I would have been able to play it.
Okay.
So technically, I don't think I played that final. But anyway,
you're in the suspension
I don't know
club
when
like
that was.
yourself.
Yeah, I'd say it was 2004 maybe.
Right. Okay. Around that time. Yeah.
2005, in around that. Yeah.
Yeah. You player of the year. Then I see you with Slashers 2010. You were super that year. Nominated for player of the championship 2010 that same year. Division 3, Division 4 National Leagues, and the Hastings Cup. I said we were on the squad together for that Hastings Cup. Was that the one against Cavan? Was it?
That was. Oh, I don't really remember. To be honest,
was it in Slashers the final?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was against
kind of
Cavan.
dirty evening opens. Yeah, it was actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah,
I remember that. Well, under 21 for me, I was on the panel for the same for the 2 years you were on it as well. Was it 06, 07? But I actually didn't play much, like with injuries. A couple of years, I got my shoulder operation done, and I had a knee problem for our year. We actually had a very good under 21 team that kind of totally underachieved that year, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah, we had
our second year. You would have had Jim Masterson.
Yeah, we
Cav,
lost. Did we lose the first
Bull.
round? Was it
First round? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
but,
When you think back, yeah. But what do you think when you look back and you hear back, like everything you've won to date? What do you think about it? Do you ever reflect on it?
Not too often, actually. More so in the last couple of weeks, like because of I know that there's videos going around of the finals over the last few years, like, which is cool. Like actually seeing it, and a lot of the finals I wouldn't have looked at ever. Like, I didn't look at. I think I saw clips from one or two finals just when we were playing the following year or something like that, preparing for another match. Like, but never sat down and watched any of the finals. And I actually started. I've only watched back the ones we've lost so far. So I've left the last 3 that I've won. So I haven't actually looked at them yet.
Yeah, they're hard enough to watch now. I get it hard to watch them myself. I don't know why.
Yeah, frustrating. Like, because I suppose you can actually see yourself playing, and you're kind of thinking, you probably could have given a bit more. Like, it's hard not to think like that.
Yeah, well, I think you always think of that when you're looking at yourself. I think like it's so different at the time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, for me, definitely football meant different things at different times to me.
Yeah.
Like, so when you look back at the 06, my first county final would be 06. We lost against Abilara. I was only after starting college, and it was a buzz playing a bit with the club and all that kind of stuff. But then new experience up at Dublin, new people, kind of, it was just, there's a lot going on, and it just probably didn't mean as much to me as what we'll say later on in life, which is natural enough. And sure, your managers will all tell you that you have a small window to play, and you look back and you'll be sick and you didn't put it in when you had the chance and when it was easy. I suppose football was easy back then. Like, there was no struggle to make training or to shuffle different things around. Realistically, like, you had a blank canvas.
Didn't seem as intense.
No, not at all. And especially, I was lucky probably when I broke onto senior teams, like with Slashers there and that. Like, you had it was a young team.
Yeah.
So the lads were all and kind of, they were, generally speaking, they were probably 4 or 5 years older than me, but they got the college thing and never put much pressure on you. And, never a bad word would be spoken if you missed the game or if you missed a few trainings, that kind of thing, like, which is obviously a lot different than nowadays. But I just felt that was a huge thing for me. That
would have helped a lot.
Just
the different.
Yeah, the pressures are. I don't know why. I'd say it was probably because of the team that I walked into. Our Slasher team then at that stage would have had 2 or 3 under 21 championships in a row, like, and a minor championship, and they were very strong at that age group, and yet they knew how to party as well and knew the crack, like, and they were never going to win in a fellow that was in college, and even heading off to Australia, or not Australia, heading off to America for a summer or anything like that. You know, there was never any massive deal. They did it themselves, like. And whereas I know myself, when you get to the last 2 or 3 years of your career, and all of a sudden these 2 or 3 fellas that are, you know,
you're looking
involved
for
in
them to
minor
roll
teams and 21s, and you're just like, if they could just give it that little bit extra, you know, we could all get over the line. But I suppose that's what I mean. Like, football means different things at different times in your life.
Yeah,
like,
Corey, you're kind of trying to make them see like what you see now, kind of. But like they're young and they're probably like,
yeah. I like,
don't
even
deny.
what you'd be saying, like you've heard it before, like, but you know that back then it probably fell on deaf ears a little bit as well. But I suppose I had less of that because the lads were younger, like, and probably weren't that stressed out either because they were younger, and it wasn't like it was their last hurrah, or, you know, the last couple of years. They probably were confident enough that at some stage you were going to get over the line, or you know, it's not the last dance.
Exactly. A lot of those lads, a lot of their perspective has probably changed now as well in the last couple of years, you know, when they look back, because some of the boys in that dressing room with you ended up winning a championship, you know, and probably because of changes they made.
Yeah, and definitely. And I think I had this conversation with somebody before who said, who were kind of mentioned to me about Dennis Connaughton coming to us, and, you know, that Kilo might have won a championship in a couple of championships before if Dennis had stuck with Kilo or whatever. And I just think that timing is a massive thing as well. And timing, if the core of your team is in the right place at the right time, as in out of college, and you know, they're fit, they're athletes, they're
fellas been around,
and they're around, and they're settled in their lives and that kind of thing. That's a massive thing. You can have a mixture, of course, like, but you're probably looking at our under 21 teams, those ones that had won came through, and they would have been generally about 25, 26, we'll say, when Dennis took us over. So it was just, everyone just worked at the right time. And I just think that, it just worked. Like, it took a few years for everyone to settle and be in the right place, like, in the right mindset, and put football first, I suppose.
Yeah, it fairly fell into place then.
Yeah, we had a good couple of years then when Dennis took over us, and it was just like, I'd say 2010 for me was probably the first year where I would have been really sickened if we didn't win it when we got to the final, because if you're being honest with yourself, I'd say most of the lads would say the same, we played a bit of football during the summer, and you got into county finals. We played well, we got it together for the summer. But did we give everything to it up until that point? We gotten into 2 county finals, 2006 and 2008. But if you look at our league performance back then, like, we would have been, I think when I started playing with Slashers in 2004, I think we could have been in Division 2 in the league, and struggling then all for them couple of years. Like, even the years we were in county finals, struggling in the league, like relegation and that kind of stuff. Whereas I think we lost the first 2 games under Dennis in the league, Colin Killen, maybe Abilar or somebody. And then we were unbeaten for maybe 2 years in the league, I think it was.
Once you got it going.
But that kind of meant, you know, it would have been really sickening to know that you threw everything at it those couple of years, or those couple of months before the county final, and really did the donkey work. But I suppose you kind of learned how to win games, not playing well, and just grind out results. Like, but I think you had men in the dressing room too. Like, you had big, strong, physical players. Like,
yeah. Well, I think when you get that key ingredient, when you know how to win games, like, you know, you're able to grind out results, you're always going to be hard beaten, especially like on the days where it's not going well for you, but you still find a way while you can. But,
and I think your fitness is a big part of that too. Like, knowing that you have that groundwork done, that you're not gonna, you know, that the last 15, 20 minutes isn't going to be a kind of I don't know. I wish I had a little bit more on the tank.
Yeah, backs the water up, especially with the system you were playing at the time as well. You need to be fit.
Yeah, it was a different sort of a system too. Like, it
was the first of its kind in Longford, really.
Yeah, well, I suppose 2010. I don't know what kind of system we really. And 2010 was different probably than the latter part of Dennis, when Dennis had us. Because 2010 you had, like, if I remember, I think we played a flat 6 at the back, and you had a very lively forward line. Stephen Phillips there was massive for us at the time, and he was actually a very hard player for us to replace over the years. Like Peter Foy came in for a while and he was in the full forward line, did really well, but
Mark
only
Diffie was a
natural
great
wing
addition
back.
too.
In 2013, Mark Diffie was super for us, yeah. But
So,
we still struggled for that inside real ball winner who's gonna, it just seemed for he was probably irreplaceable for us from 2000.
yeah.
I think it was after 2013 he left, 14, 15, 16. It was just he was a really good player to have inside. You just hit him from 50, 60 yards, and he actually made my game really, because I just look up, win the ball, look up, kick it 50 yards, run after it, and
he had great movement.
Yeah, he just see him, and you know it when you see it at training, when he's like Martin, like the Dermot Brady and Garchi and these fellas who be hardened cornerbacks, like, and giving them a tough time. Like, there's not too many who do it, like.
No.
But just I suppose that it was. I thought we played a kind of an exciting enough brand of football back then, like, and I think there was a little bit of goodwill towards us too, like, because we hadn't won in a long time, and I suppose.
Yeah. So you're like,
it's good for football too to have a spread of stuff like.
It was the bubble you're always waiting for the burst, like, kind of, because everyone knew you had talent. Like, you're all footballers. Like, I suppose, from the outside looking in, it was just like, God, if Slashers get their discipline together.
Yeah, it's hard. I wouldn't have known what people would think of us really, like, because did they think that just when it came to football, like, nobody seemed to take much heed of us during the year. But sure, I suppose we didn't justify that either, like, because. Yeah. When I started senior, look at the lads were young. I was 18, the boys would be 21, 22, the vast majority of them. And sure, you know yourself, the scene was different back then. You go out to Granard to play a league game and you stay in Granard.
You stay in Granard
until 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening then, and for a few pints, and then you come back into town and out. And it's there's no Sunday sessions, training sessions back then.
It was absolutely not.
There was only 4 or 5 fellas showing up.
Different times.
Yeah, it was a completely different times, really, wasn't it? Like,
oh, it was like, even changed the last couple of years, but I don't know, like, there was good things about it too, like, there was definitely good things about it.
I suppose you had more time,
socially back then, you probably mixed with lads more, whereas nowadays it's kind of you play against whoever you're playing against, and that's it. Good luck, like, and there's some lads you mightn't see from one end of the year to the next, unless you're playing them in.
Yeah, or if you're involved with a county or something like that, or if you had a connection like that. Like, but outside that, unless you, that's it. I remember in town after any match, any championship match, like, both teams would be out that night, and there'd be a big thing for the town and everything as well. Like, even if we weren't playing, we could say, "Oh, Kilo are playing Columkill, and should there be a crowd out? The Kilo crowd will be out, and the Columkill boys will be out. Should we go out for a few or whatever?" But that just seen change, like.
Yeah, it has. Sure, everything's ever changing, Anyway, good stuff. Okay, talk to me about a young Niall Mulligan. Where did he start?
Right. I started, believe it or not, in Cavan.
That explains the accent.
A lot of people wouldn't even know that. Like, I moved to Longford when I was 8, 9, and like, I would have went as far. Yeah, I think as far as second class in Farnham National School in Cavan, just outside Cavan Town, and started football with Cavan Gales, under 8s and under 10s, and just I remember we were winning. We won a lot of stuff underage. Just in my head, it was Barry James Duff used to beat us a bit, and who was the other one? I can't remember the other one, but it was community games stuff more so than anything else. But I do remember.
That's where you started off. Had you a Cavan accent going to Melville?
I don't know how bad it was, but sure, you never know yourself. Like,
it wasn't long about changing.
my Cavan accent. I
can't imagine it.
Actually, I remember being in New York and being told the Longford accent was one of the most exotic accents ever. So,
oh my God,
I thought that was a funny one. So
very flattering.
Yeah, you go to Dublin, then I think it's the blandest accent. They can't even tell you where you're from.
So come here, moving then, obviously moving to Longford, joining Slashers Club. And
like, it would have been a funny one because we moved to Longford and I moved to just outside Foynes Court there, outside Longford town, and we went to Melville School. Like, my dad would have went to Melville himself, like, and So there would be a good connection there. They would have walked over the fields from through the back of the forge there to Kiltybegs. Like, it's like the close school wouldn't have been there at that stage. The close school would have been smaller schools. They wouldn't have amalgamated at the time. So they all would have went across there through the fields to Melview. And then he would have, like, they would all have played with Shroyd. But I played with Slashers, and look at, he was involved with the underage setup too, like, and he was always kind of there, probably, if not coaching, doing a bit of coaching or doing a bit of selecting more so.
Would you say he was your biggest inspiration then as you were moving up through the ranks?
Yeah, look at, sure, when you look back at why you play certain sports, it's the most of it is, you know, what your parents want you to do, or what your parents probably push you towards to start off with. Like, he wouldn't have had a massive interest in soccer now or that, or pretty much anything else. Like, any of the rest of my sports now, he wouldn't have had much of a, like, he'd go and watch you play or whatever, but it wouldn't be his thing really. Like,
yeah, because that's what I often wonder about, especially in the town schools. You know, that, you know, to get drawn towards Gaelic football is more difficult because you have so many other sports available to you. Like, you are tampering with basketball, a bit of soccer, something else. Whereas out in Kilo, when I was growing up in national school, it was just football. We didn't have that other opportunity. Yeah,
there'd be a big mix there. Look at, I put down a lot of my probably injuries that I have, like, are because of not, like, probably overtraining and not electing early on, like. And look at, there's a level to everything. Like, it's great to have a flavour of different sports. And actually, when you said it, the likes of basketball there, like, is massive. Like, I think that helped me no end, like, in one regard, just with your hand-eye coordination, that your skill level, all that kind of stuff.
It has everything, has everything.
But, you know, in saying that, there's a line to it, and I probably didn't draw the line quick enough like that. I was trying to juggle up until about 17, 18, and look at, I paid a price on the back of that, and I just be conscious now of, like, kids themselves, like, that they're not overdoing things. Like, so when you think back at some of the stuff you were doing, like, and like, for example, you could have been in Mel's there, like, and you know we were always football mad in Mel's, and you trained every lunchtime. But I also played with hurling for, you know, I could be playing hurling for the under-16s and the senior team as well. You could be playing under-16 senior team Gaelic, or under-16 and minor team for
Did you
Gaelic.
play rugby in Mel's?
Yeah, bits and pieces, not a whole pile. More so bits of soccer, underage, play under 40 or under-16 with Longford Town, and then the basketball. See, I had a close network of friends who were basketball mad, like, and they would have, which actually at that, like, it would have been Shane Murphy, Niall Mulligan, James O'Reilly, a nice mix of fellas from different places. But there's a lot of fellas from Longford that would have represented Ireland underage, like.
And they're really talented players.
I liked that. I was never brilliant because I never put that much time into it. But I would have been, probably, if there was 5 in the team, I might have been 5. The 5th one, like, was there. I'd be there or thereabouts, like, the lads be streets ahead of you, like, still. But I liked the basketball kind of network, and I just I couldn't let that go either, because it was just great crack too, like. Yeah. But like that,
see, when you're enjoying all these things, like, at a young age, it's very hard for you to make a decision to say, right,
it is,
back. Like, you know, nowadays, I suppose you can't say it is a parent's responsibility to know when a child is doing too much.
But part of the problem was that when you're playing so many different disciplines, your parents would be a big one, but sure, it's only now that you're figuring out about all this player burnout. You would have heard that back then, like, but I suppose when you're playing 5 or 6 different sports, if you have one coach, if you're playing Gaelic, if you're training with the under-16s, you're not going to be asked to do training with the minors later on that day, or play with the seniors, and you know the way it works, because they know what you're doing. Whereas when you're playing hurling, playing soccer, playing basketball, Gaelic, you know,
they're all thinking
like they don't know what you're doing, like.
No.
You know,
you're not telling them
kind of no. And then, you know, like, we used to train in Mel's every single day of the week, like, and then you had training that evening again, like, and you had I think 70 to 80% from what I'm hearing back, 70 to 80% of people have, their hips or whatever are capable of taking that load, but then there's some people who just aren't made for that level of, and I think I fell into the 30%, so you paid a bit of a price on it.
I know, like, and I suppose you're able to see that now, especially being a teacher as well. You're able to see that with kids as well. You're able to kind of maybe shed light on situations like that for them, because
I do see massive improvements in it, but I suppose there is that line of, the professional side of things, like is everything going this mad professional route, and do underage teams have to show up in the same gear? Do they have to be looking at diet plans? Do they have to be looking at strength programs, all this kind of stuff? Like,
I think everything has its time, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And
like, for me personally, off the bat, like, I can't understand, like, until your body is fully developed, I can't understand why you'd be putting under unnecessary stress, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was always the case, even when we were growing up, that you were, weights wise and all that kind of stuff was pushed on down the road. Don't even think about it. Maybe after under 16s, free weights, that kind of stuff, for body weight stuff, like, it was never a massive thing. And it's actually funny back then, when you had that complex when you were younger, probably, that when you felt probably going into senior that you're inferior, all of a sudden minor you were strong enough, like, because you're playing with your own age group, but then you're going into under 21 and senior, that you have to get up to the level of a 27-year-old's body, like, and all of a sudden 27, 28-year-olds you're coming up against, and they're just knocking you off the ball and that kind of stuff. But when you look back now, it's the movement that was probably the key back then. Like, that was your real asset, like, but you probably overlooked that completely, like, your flexibility, your movement, your skill level.
Big time. And then the workouts became addictive too, and sure, it was just crazy what we were at. When you think back, like, it was crazy. So, but come here, you're coaching then underage. I suppose John Murphy would have coached most of your teams, would you?
John, let me see. Well, probably our age group, Donny Sweeney would have been involved.
Okay.
My dad, Jerry Clark, was involved for a while, from what I remember. I remember
Peter Kramer?
Peter Kramer was always involved. Peter's a great man. He was always involved, and who else would have been around the scene? Look, there's a few. I remember a few of the minors, like Ian Chan. A few of them used to come down and do sessions with us as kids as well. But John Murphy would have been kind of the year. Adrian would have been the year ahead of me, so he probably would have been.
Would he have been the one
coach me as well
that coached you underage and at senior level?
And Jerry Clark as well. I think Jerry Clark as well. He was involved with us, and even John Murphy. Like, I can remember John Murphy back when we were in primary school, and he actually did great work out in Melview. I remember him bringing us to all the matches. He still does it with Slashers, like. But I remember him, that's back when the football used to be on during the day during school. But he'd bring you in, and you'd be getting the ice cream on the way back. And I suppose that is one of the reasons when you have people that are doing that type of thing within schools, like, it makes some difference. Like, people remember it, and you're giving them experiences, and you're kind of they're giving their time, But sure, I suppose they just have a love for the game, like, and sure, he's still doing it, like. But
I know. Well, that's it. Like, that's what it is at the end of it. It is a love for the game. But you always remember those people. Like, I always find when you have any sort of success, you do remember the.
Yeah, you do, and especially the people. Then there's a lot of people who do it for the sake of, just because they might have had a child on a team, or they might have, but then you see there's other fellas that will do it. They'll still be around, and they'll still be putting the shoulder to bed, even when the kids are gone, like, and they're moved on, or they might even be playing anymore, but they just love the whole aspect of the GAA, which there is a lot to it that is massively positive.
And it's becoming more challenging to get people like that nowadays.
Definitely. Sure, I suppose you're looking at families with, most households have some, you could have both parents working, and it's just busy, I suppose. And there might be just as much flexibility as what there used to be years back.
Yeah.
Everything's on a timer.
Exactly. So talk to me then. You're up in the club, you're in the senior sub. Talk to me about your transition on to the county squad. How it came about.
County, yeah. That was after 2010. I think it was November that, or maybe after the county final 2010.
So who called you?
Glenn Ryan gave me a ring. And at that stage, actually, I think I more or less told him that I wouldn't be around, or that I was going to be, like, I had Australia on the mindset.
Okay.
And I had kind of put it off, and then I kind of was saying that, look, see what you can do. He said, oh, look, we might be able to get sorted out with a bit of work or whatever, and that kind of thing, but just loved the idea of it. Like, you just the minute you get the phone call, I always felt like I hadn't really given football priority until 2010.
Okay.
So, like, when I started giving it a priority, I was getting a bit of joy out of it, even winning the county final 2010. And I just said, look, if I'm going to give this thing a rattle, I may as well do it now, because, the fitness level wasn't too bad. And I just said, right, we'll give it a go. And just didn't, and never really looked back from it. I really enjoyed it. Like, and I suppose it was the likes of my dad, and I was delighted. Like, you knew by him that he really kind of chuffed with it, and parents, like, I suppose, and you've people that see you outside your own kind of area too. Like, you'll have the lads from college chatting to you and that kind of stuff, like, to see you and playing, or, they might go and watch you, and that's a bit of a buzz too, like, or aunties and uncles somewhere else, like,
Nice to get that recognition, yeah. And I suppose, from your father's perspective, he, at that stage, he probably was wondering, like, okay, is he going to get the opportunity again, especially with all the injuries and coming back to a place, because in 2010 you were injury free, you were flying it.
Yeah.
So there would have been no major. The main reason, I'm guessing, for you not to go in would have been the fear of overdoing it again. If you were cautious at the time, but I suppose you felt good, so you did go in.
Honestly, I felt probably that I could back it up by going in 2010. I had been asked in before to trials and bits and pieces, but I wasn't playing well enough myself, so I would have been totally out of my comfort zone then, because I knew I couldn't really back it up, like, and it would have been that kind of anxiety or feeling that, like, what's the point going in here now and not being able to do what what's been asked, like. So at least when I did go in, I felt it was the right time.
Yeah.
Physically as well, I suppose I filled out a bit then too. So, but I did feel like it wasn't the most natural role into setup either. Like, my under-21, I didn't really play the 2 years that we were under-21, and then there was a year or two where I didn't play. Obviously, since that, then I hadn't played bar a little bit with the club, like.
Yeah.
And then when I finished college and I came home and gave it the full year in 2010, I suppose you didn't have the natural 21 to senior role in, like, but I suppose I was lucky that I was actually on those under 21 teams, and I had likes of you were after breaking into the squad a couple of years prior to it, likes of yourself and Peter Froy and Bull there, and
we were kind of similar. Well, I was, especially because I wasn't featuring in those teams really. I was on the squad, so I suppose that kind of kept your touch in. But going on to the senior for me was a completely new chapter.
It's a different feeling when you're on the outside of it, or that. I actually spoke to somebody about this, and it was actually at a club level. Just the mindset of when you're breaking onto a team and being told, oh yeah, just play with confidence, play. And I've often been told that, like, just play with confidence.
Play with confidence.
But then, how do you play with confidence when you know that there's 5 fellas on the bench that can come on and they're definitely good enough to make the team as well?
Yeah.
And knowing that when you're the fella who's kind of new to the setup, then sometimes I felt like that you're being told to be confident, yet you weren't probably being told. Like, your man that I was talking was saying that, like, if I was only told, right, you're getting 60 minutes today, do what you can in the 60 minutes, play with confidence, that'd be grand, you're not coming off. But when somebody's playing, like, and you're told to play with confidence, but you're looking at these fellas, next thing, I'm naturally the first sub off. So if I make one mistake, I'm in trouble here. And just thinking, you know, your mindset changes a lot. Like, and are you really being backed? Like, you know, or you know, somebody said to you, look, I'm going to play it for the full game. It's in you, let it come out or whatever. Like without.
People meanwhile saying it to you, but like there's layers to it.
Yeah, like when you can see like the sub being warmed up on the sideline there, and you know it's your position, or you know the pressure's coming on. Like, is it? You know, it's there's. I suppose there's different sides to it, and then it starts eating at you a little bit. Then because you might have been enjoying the club setup, and then am I not getting enough game time for the club? You go back to the club then, and you know it's
yeah. That's why I think communication
it's a conundrum.
is so important. Like that, I'd like to think the game has evolved a bit now in the sense that if someone is on the bench, they've been spoken to about their role, and if it's something is on, say, look at, you're just not in a position where you're going to feature at the moment, but that doesn't mean 2 or 3 months down the line you still won't be. You know, you could have a, you know, you could be giving us 10 minutes, or even if you're another player where you're coming on for 10 minutes, and that's explained to you, say, right, you're coming in this 10-minute period, you know, be ready, and you're like, right, that's 100%. You can accept that and build on that. But if you're sitting there and you're guessing, God, I was moving well at trend there last week, I wonder, am I in the running? And you haven't.
Yeah. It's an awkward one then, and like.
Well, it is awkward because at the time it was awkward, but like when you actually think now, when you think back, going, it's not awkward if someone just grabbed the bull by the horns and had that chat, like, and made lads understand that, like, Gaelic football has definitely become a squad game now, whereas a couple of years ago it was like a dog eat dog sort of scenario, and I think that actually held teams back.
Yeah. You see all the senior level and club level now, where it's all, you know, your finishers or the ones to bring it home. And you know, I think we saw, was it the Portlaoise team? You came across them a few times as senior as well, like, but
a good experience.
Was it Portlaoise, and who was the other one? Was it Vincent's used to have it as well there? So was it against Mulligan-Longford? I saw them where they had big, strong, like 6'2", 3 fellas coming on, athletes, running lines like in the last 20 minutes of the game, like 15, 20 minutes of the game, and just like you were just wondering how are these fellas not starting, but they were being held back for just so they could do maximum damage the last 20 minutes of the game. But I suppose they have a bigger pick, like, and
of course, but then also you can imagine the mindset of a fella who's been prepped before that to say, look, you're coming on this lot, this is his job. He's after doing it a few times. He gets a thrill out of it because he's been praised for doing this role so well. So when he's asked to come on, he's absolutely hopping on the sideline and he's itching to get in there to make an impact. Whereas if there's no chat or no communicating and you call a fellow 10 minutes to go, he'd be puffing and panting on the sideline going, I don't even want to go in.
Yeah, there'll be that. And then I suppose you're probably looking at, is there a better way of doing it? Like for that fella who's only getting 15 minutes or who mightn't play maybe 1 in 5 games, might get featured in 1, 3 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
could he go back to the club for a while? But then I suppose other clubs are looking at saying, hang on, how come they get to have him in with the county and he can be released to play against? I think they do a little bit more of that now, don't they?
Yeah, there's definitely more opportunities. I think there's more opportunities now. Managers are more aware, I think, anyway, like that. You give lads opportunity, like this thing of bringing a fella on in 1 game, and if he doesn't perform in 10 minutes, you write him off straight away. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, it has massive impacts on. Like, of
course it does. Like, sure,
straight away,
players quit.
Yeah. You're weighing up, like, what am I doing this for? Like, I'm sacrificing club level where I'm at. You know, and like I found that very strange actually, going back into the club setup, like after it. Sometimes you would be way off the pace, like.
Yeah.
And it's just probably because you're more so when you were coming on for 20-minute spells and probably playing a different position too, like, and you could be playing corner forward or wing forward. Next thing all of a sudden you're playing out in the middle of the park, and it takes you a couple of games.
Different role, yeah. You know that feeling you come back from county setup and you go, God, why am I not fit? The club lads running rings around.
Yeah, and then you actually do some of the running, like, and the club lads are like, it's actually tougher, like, at times. But then I suppose that shows you that that's just kind of maybe it's a little bit of a shock to the system that you're kind of managing it a little bit better, because you're obviously, you can see it, the county players when they come back during the summer for the championship, like, they have that extra 10 minutes in the legs, like they just look like they have that little bit extra than the norm.
It's just condition. It's like not doing circuit training. Like, and you join a circuit training group then, and you're in bits the next day and they're grand.
Yeah,
Even though you've been doing weights all year, but it's more methodical. Do you know what I mean?
It's just a shock to the system again.
So when you look back over your county career now, like, how do you feel about it? Like, are you happy with it?
I really enjoyed it. Like,
Not
that Mike. Look, to be fair, now I wouldn't call it much of a career either. I had a couple of years, like, but
your experience in there.
The couple of years that I had in there, I suppose, they were pretty good. Like, because you won 2 titles, like, as a team, and I actually think we underachieved. Like, you probably think the same, like, because there was a couple of really close encounters there with Wexford in particular, a few times.
I firmly believe if we got over Wexford that time in Tullamore, we could have given the Leinster a good rattle that year.
That's it, and I think Wexford put it up to Dublin that year.
Did,
There was a couple of calamity goals and stuff that went in and just went against them. But I thought then we'd a massively, like, a big physical, strong team. Like, most of the team would have been over 6 foot. Athletes. I thought that was a very good team. Like,
and you could move too at the time.
Yeah, and I think we would have been a handful for anyone. Like, but
Dave
it is a bit of a signal.
Animals altogether.
He did. In fairness to Dave, like, see, I don't know what. Just I get the kind of whispers of what went on a couple of years previous, or just the natural of what every setup in the county would have been like back in the day. But he seemed to be a big turning point for fellas that were there for a long time. He said that he really brought something new.
Revolutionised Longford football in my eyes. Like, he changed the whole. He's the reason, like, clubs have strength and conditioning coaches now. Like, he brought that into Longford. Because
he made, but like it made sense, and he just said things with such confidence too, like this. You just felt like, if I don't do this stuff, I'm being left behind here, and that's it. Like, so
for sure,
I better row in with it.
That, it was like, how big are your biceps? Can you bench 100 kg? Like, what are you squatting? And if you're like, it was just madness.
Yeah, it was.
Everyone was broke up carrying hamstring injuries, and
it was just, there was a lot less of that soft tissue injuries, and you just kind of. I just thought he was very professional too. The whole kind of, you split your. It wasn't one manager trying to say, I'm doing a run and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing tactics, I'm doing everything. It made more sense. You had somebody who was really honed in on this particular area, doing this facet of it, whereas you had somebody else doing this. And I really enjoyed that kind of side of things, that you're kind of like looking at and saying, I wouldn't get this at club level. But now I know it later on in the following 2 or 3 years, like, club level came up to that, like,
and
it really is at that level now. It's it's at the level that we were. That was 2011.
11, 12. Yeah.
But most clubs are at that level now, that they're doing that level of training, and which is another kind of draw probably away from the county setup. Just the work. Probably the workload that you have at club level, like, because I remember one of the big things back in the day would have been, going in with the county shirt, easy, you'll be ran, it'll be tough, that's serious training, like. But like, you leave that now, like, you compare that to, say, your training last year with Kilo or mine with Slashers or whatever, like, that training is tough now, like, and even the workload and your time, your everything is way like spread out over the whole year, like, so you're only getting a couple of months of kind of downtime, or not, if even, like.
If even. Is it downtime, really? Downtime to me is where you have absolutely nothing on. And I got hard to remember when that even happened. Very
well, like last year for us, like, we'd lost the county final, and sure, we were waiting until, I don't know when it was. It was a couple of few weeks.
Right,
for a relegation battle, it was probably more important than with Drumlishta. It was probably more important than the county final, really. Like, you would be in Division 2 football going forward, like, so.
And you shouldn't have to be facing into a situation like that after a championship final, like, really.
Yeah, it was hard. That was hard because nobody's head was in it. We're just lucky probably to get the job done in the end, just about, like. But that's what I'm talking about. That would have never been the case. Like, for us, we lost a county final, or we lost in the championship. You got together, you ran out the last 1 or 2 games of the league, and there was nothing after that. But it just seemed, for me, from 2010 to 2014, 15 or whatever, when we were or 13 when we were doing well, it was just all year round, like. And then you had the county, like we played G in a league final one year in
Christmas, December 16th, I remember.
December 16th,
Yeah.
and was starting the follow in the 4th or 5th.
The Burn Cup.
With the County Burn Cup, yeah. And
because I remember Glenn Ryan rang me actually, and I said, Glenn, I need a week or two off. Like, I got 2 weeks. And back playing the Burn Cup, I think it was against Meath or something in January. Yeah. And I just remember it was just a nightmare.
Yeah, just when your head isn't
no
fully
drive,
in it, like.
no drive at all. No, like, because you just want to get away from it and kind of, just for a month even. But look at that.
Yeah, but I found that now. I was lucky enough, but I found it very hard because the club was doing so well at that time. I think that they weren't too, you were playing late into the year. You were playing Leinster Championship. You were playing Leader Cup.
You had a long stretch one year in the winter. You were waiting to play Gary Castle for like 9 weeks or something. Yeah,
we did a 9-week break, like, and it was kind of like a.
Sure, you were training up on the pitch while you were still training.
Yeah, it was like having, you had to bring it right down. You had to lift your training sessions then again. It was like having nearly a pre-season again after. Like, it just that was a massive thing for us that year, and I think that was the year to beat us comfortably enough. Like, the year previous to
13, wasn't it? I think
13. No, that was 11. I think
11.
We played them 2 years in a row away. And they beat us by a point or two the first time, and then the second year I think they beat us they got a couple of goals and beat us by a few points. But that was, look, at that break was massive. Like, fellas had been committed for a year, and all of a sudden you had another 9-week wait, and just hard to juggle that one. Like,
yeah, I know. Like, it's like when you have momentum, you need the games coming thick and fast.
Yeah, and it's usually you kind of need a break too. Like, when it came to county, then at least we had a little bit of, I'd say to Glenn or whatever, and I said, look, and I won't be back. I won't be playing for at least a month. Like, and in fairness, they were fairly decent about it. It probably was to the detriment of my footballing a little bit, because you missed the Burn Cup then. And
yeah,
fellas had nailed positions down, and you're chasing a position in the middle of the league, like, which is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, like, unless you're there from the start, like, if you want to make an impact and show your hand, like, if you're not there from the start, it's it was very much. It was very. I don't think I played in
a Burn Cup game.
Do you regret that?
Longford? Not really. I watched a good few of them, like, but no, I don't think I actually. If I did, I can't remember. But I think between surgeries and taking a couple of weeks,
it's one that I'd love to have won.
The Burn Cup.
Yeah.
I suppose when you're out in it and you're putting in that kind of an effort, it'd be no harm to get some sort of joy out of it. Like, but
I'd actually thought the lads did serious well. They should win it. I thought last year when Meath beat us in the semi-final, I thought like we were going to get a run at it, but wasn't.
Yeah, you're unlucky.
Yeah, wasn't to be. But
it's a tough competition. It definitely is, because it tests your mental side of things too. Like, that it's not the league, but it sets a marker down for the year or two. Like,
big time, big momentum builder. So, what drives Niall Mulligan? What motivates Niall Mulligan? What did you enjoy most about playing? Why did you give so much?
I don't know. I think it's probably. I don't really know what really drives me the most. Probably people around me, I suppose, seeing what it means to them. Like,
yeah, I get that.
Family, friends would say, definitely club level, where the lads would all be chatting about this, and and it's funny how you wouldn't have noticed stuff over the years, because you would have been in a little bubble of playing for the team. But then when you're friendly with fellas that would have been retired by the time you started, like, there was a couple of my mates there to be talking, and they'd remember stuff that you would remember about finals you played in, that. Yeah. And they'd be talking, and you'd just be thinking that meant an awful lot to those fellas, like, and you'd kind of feel a little bit bad then, because it meant a lot for you, but not probably more for the fella that was sitting watching the game, like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They can't do it anymore. That doesn't have that option. Like, but I suppose like one of the big things for me would be, like, I could have packed it in like a few times. I probably should have, like, when I look back on the last few years. But I suppose the determination, or just to have, like, to have something to aim for. Like, and that's what I'd miss about football now, would be the
goal.
Even in this lockdown thing, is just to have that end goal of like, right, if you take that away from me, that I can't, that's not feasible. It's not going to happen. You can't do that. The drive even to keep yourself in nick and all that kind of stuff. I love to have that, even if it's not attainable at all. Like in the back of your head, like
very hard to adjust.
Yeah, it is. Like, I suppose some people are just made to enjoy that burn of training hard and being really fit and all that. And I like keep myself ticking over, but to bring myself to the next level, to push myself a little bit further, I'd have to have an aim or a reason to do it.
Yeah,
that's what I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe when I do quit, I'll be grand. I'll just get into a routine. And I do find that now, actually, even with this lockdown going on at the moment or whatever, it's you do get into a routine.
Just,
like once you're
this
consistent,
is it, isn't it? This is what it's like. This is what it's like.
There is no goal. Like, it's funny. Like, I was only chatting to somebody today, actually, and he was asking me, "Are you doing a bit?" And I said, "I am." And I was like, "I don't really know why I'm doing a bit, but I am keeping myself ticking over." Like,
yeah, I was chatting earlier on with Shane Kenny and Oren Kenny about this, and they brought it up, and they were saying it'll be very interesting, post COVID-19, how it will impact on players. Like, you will have players that will like see a bigger picture and go, "Oh, do you know what? I don't really want to give all my time to this." That'll be one extreme, and then you'll have the other extreme with fellas that are really, really missing it, and it's so valuable to them and they want to get
dying to go back. Yeah. Like, it'll finish a lot of fellas.
Yeah.
Like, this particular one will finish a lot of fellas playing football. But then again, it could bring fellas back that were just needed that.
Yeah.
Kind of
lads that can't stay at home.
Yeah, there's a little bit of structure, or just to get out of the house, to actually realise how important it was to have that, like, and to be able to do it. And even looking back at those videos and everything of finals gone by and all that, just to think, and everyone chatting about them now recently, like, they were just thinking, look, I might give it another year, I might do that. Like, then again, there's a lot of fellas, it'll really test fellas' discipline too, like, because there's nobody watching you doing anything. There's nobody seeing what your times are, all this kind of stuff. Like, and it's going to be like that by the looks of things for the next 12 months. Like, so, it'll be interesting to see how people like winter basically for the next 12 months. Like, it'll suit some people, it won't suit other people. Like, like 12, like that. Realistically, it could be 12 months. It could be this time next year before you play.
It could
you could imagine how different physiques could be. Like, even if you hit the gym and did what you were supposed to be doing for 12 months, like, where could you be? Like, it could be, it could be a huge thing for some players.
Well, I think especially, if you think of all the injuries you've had now, and imagine, like, if you were, like, at this stage now, if you're thinking, I'm going to give this another couple of years, you have a great opportunity now to get your body right.
To get the basics,
Or someone who has been injured this year.
It'd be probably, I think, like, back in the day, you could have done with this, maybe this period in the middle of a season where I found when I got my couple of surgeries done, all the surgeries I got done, I usually got them done at Christmas, and I'd miss the Byrne Cup, but I'd be chasing back for the league to try and make an impact, because it would have been pointless playing with the county if you weren't featuring in the league at some stage, because championship we hadn't had a great record and that kind of stuff, so you would push yourself to get back in mid-league at least, like. And you didn't really give your body a chance, maybe.
No, it's kind of like a thing stuck with the GAA, though. It's like, if you do an ankle in the GAA, you're expected back in 6 weeks. If you do it in the Premiership, you're gone for 6 months. If you do your cruciate in the GAA, for example, you should be back in 6 months because such a fellow's back in 6 months. But if you look at that lad who made it back in 6 months, he's probably only coming on for a couple of minutes.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me? You there, Niall? I've lost Niall at the minute now. Are you back, Niall?
I'm back.
Yeah,
I can hear you now. Yeah.
So I was just saying, like, it's different. Like, if a fella had a cruciate injury, I was just saying, someone could expect him back in 6 months because another fella made it back in that time frame. But if you went and looked at the lad that made the recovery within 6 months, he's probably only playing a couple of minutes. He's not back full.
Yeah, and his rehab has been, like, brilliant, and has been, there's different levels to it, what they can commit to, like, whereas, the fella who's in college, who's, not
Not looking
probably
after
seeing
himself as well as
physios
he
as
could.
much, or
Yeah.
not looking after himself and not playing the professional role. Like, it's just different. I suppose people way up the likes of Dublin there as well, that they're more or less a professional outfit, and
Top
it's the
treatment.
same top treatment, top level. Like, it's sure, isn't that what they say about the GAA? It's the recovery that is the difference between the training, really, like compared to Aussie rules and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Absolutely. There's no such thing
we're
as recovery
way
now.
behind.
Sound like an
No,
outcome
and
now.
as you said, I think it is getting better, like in that sense. But yeah, it would be a GAA thing to just push it back for. They want you for a date, but I suppose when you look at professional sports, they ain't going to rush you when you're an asset to them. Like, so they don't want to,
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
know, depreciate you either. Like, so
You're disposable in the GA.
yeah, they'll take the short term hit to get you right for the long run. Like, but that's that is the mentality. Like, it's not. They're probably professional sports. They're not doing that with the goodness of their hearts either. Like, there's a reason for it.
Oh, of course.
And that would be one of the pluses if the GAA did go pro. Would be player welfare would have to come first. Like,
Oh, absolutely, totally agree. Your greatest achievement to date?
Probably 2010 county final. I'd say winning that one, the first one. Like, it's just meant a lot. Like,
You were outstanding that year, though. Like, you were like. I think with you, like with your injuries, you're just so unfortunate. Like when Niall Mulligan that was up and running, fully fit, you were a hard-handled machine. I don't think there's anyone that actually could match you that year, midfield wise.
Yeah, I felt fit. Like, I suppose that's what it was. You felt your movement. You had movement back then. Like, it was just
you probably ran too much.
Yeah, well, like it just didn't really. There was never a fear, that thing at the back of your mind, thinking, "Oh, I haven't got the work done," or "Oh, that thing that's aching." I'd nothing was holding me back, like, which was great. But then again, you had a team that was going really well too, and it just, you know, as I said, there's certain players and certain things. Like,
I always found with that team, you had all the right pieces in the right places, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember Paul Kelly saying that to me when he came back. He missed a couple of years. I think he was away. Was it when he was in Australia or something? But he came back and he was kind of saying to me, how come they don't just give us the ball? And like, he said, remember the way they used to do for us, like. But that's what he said, like, where you just, the ball would break down and fellas just did the right thing with the ball. It's all that you might have legs on somebody and they just dish it to you, and there'd be no qualms about it. They didn't want to hold on to that ball for an extra 5 seconds. They wanted to release you, like, and I'm seeing it now.
Simple
the
ball
other
can be
side
the
of it.
hardest thing to coach.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But I see it now, like with some of the young lads with Slashers there, that all you want to do with them is just they'll be gliding along the ground. Yeah. All you want to do is release them, like, and get them into positions, like. But that's it's I suppose back then you just had a team that kind of worked well for each other. Like, everyone knew the role, everyone did what they were good at, and did it to their best of their ability. And outside that, like, they just put their shoulder to the wheel, like. So, but it just meant a lot to a lot of those fellas. Meant a lot to us because we put it in that year, I think, even in the league. And I just thought that there would have been a few fellas that might have just said, look, we'll pack it in now. Given that this is our third county final, like, and, you know, they were probably at that 29, 30, 31 kind of mark, and could have easily just said, look, I'm not doing this anymore. Just we might never get to one again or whatever. But we got over the line. Like, I'm looking at, I think Follies were the same 06, 08.
Yeah.
I think we're the 10 as well, but they lost theirs. But I was just thinking, like, that could have easily been us. If we didn't win that one, our team could have transitioned, and those 5 or 6 fellas could have dropped off completely, and you would have never.
Certain wins are crucial. You're kind of like, God, thank God that worked out. Like,
yeah. Well, that was one of them for us. Like, I don't think we were just as bad with the other 2 that we lost, just because you were kind of. Everyone probably thought you had another few years and you were a young team, and sure, everyone was telling you you're a young team, and sure, you have to win one, you have to lose one to win one, and all this kind of crack. Like,
we all fall into that trap.
Well, not you. You won all yours, didn't you?
Well, so, we did. But I suppose what it means when we won the first one, you're told, "Oh, you're going to win this and win that and this," and it just doesn't happen.
You can win.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking back to that. I'm playing 17 or 18 years with Kilo, and I have 4 championships.
That's some going still, like. And I was thinking that I remember being told that it was actually from a fella from Cashel or from Follies. He was saying that how many championships have you? And this is years back. I think just after we won in 2013. I said 3. And he said, geez, that's some going. And I didn't think it was some going. You know, I didn't think it was a massive deal. But he was kind of saying that those, you know, remember those casual teams, they won 3 championships. Like, it's a massive thing. Like, and it is a massive thing now when you think about it.
Of course it is.
But
they're so hard won.
They are, yeah. And I suppose you fall into the bubble of thinking, oh, geez, yeah, we'll contest these forever. Now, we had a couple of years there where you weren't even coming close then. Like, so I've seen both sides of it. Like,
absolutely.
at least back in when I
think
started
you need to really appreciate it.
Yeah, you do, definitely.
I wrote out a few pictures here, a few memories, and I was looking at the build up to the county final this year and all the banter, and I was like, you know, I get kind of weird when we're coming up to finals like that. Well, not that weird, but I suppose everyone has their own way. And me and you would have met quite a good bit throughout the year for coffees and stuff, and we'd have been chatting how we're going and all that. And then coming up closer to the final, I was kind of like, right, in the zone now, I need to stay in my own zone. And I remember you might message me the other day, well, do you want to meet up for a coffee? And I'd be pawing you off like it was but it's like, no, I don't want to see this man now until the county final's over.
Yeah.
But, and I was thinking like the crack out in the school that time as well with yourself and
I was stuck in the middle of it. Like,
huh?
it was funny all the same.
Sandwich
like,
between two boys.
That was part and parcel of it too. Like, you just have to suck it up. Like,
it's good banter. Like, you know, it's good, and it's actually good for kids to see that side of it as well. Like, you know,
it is. And actually, one of the big things that I noticed this year, I remember saying it to a few of the people from the staff, like, that after we lost the county final this year, like, it was the kids from Mullo actually came over to me, made a beeline over to me, like, and were just really patting you in the back. And like, these are kids, like, they would have been 7 or 8, like, and it really meant an awful lot to them to come over away from all the celebrations over to me just to say well done. Like, you know, I thought that was a nice little touch, like, that they're real it got me a little bit emotional, but yeah, I was in the middle of it the whole time out there anyway. Sure, if you're not able to take it, like, sure, what would you do? Like,
but it is difficult, like, you know, because like at the back of your mind, I'm sure, like, you know, you're focused on the final as well. Like, we all want to win it, like, at the end of the day. But I suppose that little key thing you talked about there it's a memory that a child will talk about in years to come.
Yeah, like, it's gas the little things that you do remember. Like, even another picture there of me getting
Portugal, isn't it? Oh no, you're getting the
one of Mickey and Joe.
Cramp, yeah. I don't know. Did you genuinely have a cramp there, or were you time wasting?
No, I think you were winning by a point. There was a draw. And I had to go off.
Was this extra time? Was it?
That was the start of the second half of extra time.
Yeah.
Or it was just before halftime went in extra time, and that was the end of my game. The two calves cramped up. But I remember actually, so at one stage, myself and Mickey were rolling around the ground and wrestling early on in the game, and then 20 minutes later, I'm shouting to Mickey to stretch my calf, and Joe comes over as well, like, and some turnaround from
such a gas photograph.
Headlocks.
It's a brilliant photograph.
It's a great photo, actually, but in fairness to them, like, they felt my pain, I think.
And then we had our training camps with the county.
Yeah, they were funny days.
That was Portugal, wasn't it?
Portugal, yeah, that was a great training.
I remember in Portugal, like, we literally had nothing to do outside training. Like, it was just...
Yeah, it was, and we did a lot of training. That was a hefty camp, like, and then we got a little bit of a breakdown for last night. They got a bit hairy, like, but...
In the words of Freddie Mercury, I want to break free.
Yeah, geez, we did that right.
We surely did. Hey, you've actually a good story about Glenn. You want to go away.
I was I thought you were talking about throwing beer mats. That was another one, actually. Do you remember that?
I do.
Don't throw another beer mat. And then a beer mat goes flying. But anyway, that was one side. No, I think you were talking about, was it the time we played Leash in the championship and they knocked us out in the first round? Yeah. And I think it was the first day that I didn't, first game all year that I didn't feature. I didn't get a run at all. I was fed up, as you were saying. You'd be kind of thinking, oh, look at what a man, I'm after giving all this down. I think it was on TV and everything as well. And I was like, I didn't even get a minute. And I got playing in every other game and I didn't get a rat at this game. We lost by a point or something like that. But I remember just me and you kind of, I think we went out for a couple of pints. We were in John McKeown's for a few pints on the Monday. That game could have been the Sunday, maybe. Yeah. And we had a fair skip on us anyway. And I decided to, I knew my brother-in-law was over in Spain. And I just decided to give him a text. And he said, he was there for a couple of weeks. So I said, look, it was Gary Match. I said, Gary, what are you at? He said, I'm over in Spain. I might pop over, I said to him. He said, grand. He said, yeah, fire ahead. I don't think he knew if I was being serious or not. Sure, I didn't even know if I was myself. But anyway, I went home anyway after a few pints and was messing around with Ryanair and booked the flight. And that was grand. I woke up in the morning and I was thinking, geez, I know I was messing on this, but I went ahead with it. I did.
This is
So
happening.
I was after booking a flight to Spain, to Alicante. And then I had to break it to my partner time, Adriana, and I had to tell her that I was after booking a flight to Spain, and I was flying out like the following morning. And then I was thinking I had to tell Glenn Ryan that I wasn't going to be around for the next week or so. After booking flights, and I had to text Glenn, and I said to him, and he knew I was annoyed probably that I wasn't after getting a run too. So I just texted him and I said, look, I won't be around, out of the country for a few days, going on holidays. And he just sent me back a smiley face. And I remember looking at it going, what is this about? Like, and then I think I just sent him back a smiley face back. And I went away on holidays then.
Was that smiley face? Oh yeah, good one, Niall.
I don't know. He mightn't even meant to send it, like, but neither was ever talked about. I just went to train, and then a week later, and just there was nothing said. Like, maybe he was happy enough that it was just going off a bit of steam or whatever, but or maybe he never got the message. I don't know. But it was funny enough, just thinking back of the reply. Like, I don't think he's trying to give me a smiley face now when I text her to tell her.
It's a class reply, now, in fairness.
It was funny enough. I just confusion when I saw it. It was just
total mind bog altogether.
Yeah, it's funny. All right. Yeah.
What does football mean to you now?
Football to me now, probably, as I was saying, like, it means it's different, actually, at different stages. This now you're probably, it's frustration. Last year really frustrated me because the club got to a final and I couldn't, for the 4 or 5 games before, I wasn't able to give much of an impact. Like, I knew it was gone after 25 minutes for the quarter-final, semi-final and final. Just the calf kept on kind of flaring up, like, or the Achilles. So you can really see in the lockdown now how much it means socially, like, just to have that structure. And I love that structure. Even to play, I went off played soccer for a while now, which I find kind of hard enough on the joints. The pitches wouldn't be too great compared to the GAA pitches around, but I love soccer as well. And I actually love I get enough out of soccer that I'd probably get by with it. But then again, the Gaelic you're just looking back, and your own community, your own kind of group circle would be GAA mad. So it's strong, just hard. Yeah. It's hard not to go back. But yeah, no, it more so
still means a lot to you.
More the social thing, yeah, it does. It means an awful lot, like. Yeah. And then I look at I have Dan now, and he's like, he'll be starting to kind of get involved with Gaelic, like he loves soccer there at the moment, and I'm on the other end of it now.
Yeah, he'll be a coach before you know it.
Putting time into him, yeah. Well, look, it's fun, like, and I suppose you're trying to do the right thing, as you said, as a parent, like, to try and get him involved in lots of things without kind of breaking his heart too. Let him pick and choose. Yeah,
and like, it's great even for him to experience you on county final day as well. That's, you can take that for granted.
Yeah, actually, this time, because I had him before. He was too young. In 2013, he was there, but like, it was actually too noisy to bring him around, I think, in the parade.
So but really take it in this time.
This time, he was kind of walking around. He was really buzzing, like, kind of. I was telling him that everyone was waving at him, like, and that they're all here for him. I'm sure, him and my godchild Ellie Rose, she was with me as well, like, and the two of them were just, it was great for them, like, a cool experience.
Yeah.
For them, like, it might spur them on to get involved in something too, that kind of way, like this. You 100%. Might want to do it because you have kind of seen something. Like, I go back to when I saw the Slashers minor team winning. It would have been kind of Dermot Brady. I would have been young. I don't know what age I was. I was probably 14 or 15 or something like that. But I remember the minor team was after winning. And I remember just going up to Slashers afterwards, and the roaring and shouting, and the crowd that was up there and everything. And I was like, oh man, I need a piece of this. Like, this is cool. Like, but I remember that, like, actually going up there and thinking, yeah, I need to work towards this. I need to experience this myself. Like,
yeah. Oh, I know. I'll tell you, it definitely has an impact. Yeah. Okay, now we're new there. How would you like to be remembered from your career? I know it can be a tough question to answer.
How would I like to be remembered? I don't know. I suppose it was honest enough. When I say it honest, like I suppose I wasn't that honest all the time, but it was more so just that you put your shoulder to the wheel as best you could, and you didn't really fear a whole pile like that. You kind of, you had a level of entertainment here as well, that you weren't just your run of the mill and, you know, passing the buck kind of thing, that you like to take things on yourself, like, and probably tried to be the difference between teams if you could, like. But yeah, more so, I suppose I'd like to be remembered this, you know, the younger fellas around and the older fellas would always, you know, think that you're sound enough and that you were kind of decent to them as well, and that you'd have their back and that kind of thing as well, like that you were never probably over the top with them. And the way I experienced things from the older lads and slashers, for me, like that, I'd like to think that you never kind of weighed in on fellas too much either, like.
Well,
pass it on.
It's all you can ever hope for is to pass it on as best you can, isn't it?
Yeah, because you would like look at it. I'm saying that there would have been a few characters you come across and you'd be like, oh, this fella again, like, you know, that kind of way, like. And you remember those people too. But you do remember those people that kind of, you know, you have to be, when you're a kind of senior member of a squad, you know, fellas are looking up to you more than you think, like, I suppose.
Of course, yeah. But you change. Your kind of mentality changes too. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it definitely does.
No, you're not, like, I suppose when we're younger, we're thinking of ourselves more, you know, like. And
it's more about you.
Towards the end of,
towards
the end of our, as you know, not towards the end of a career, but I'm saying as you get on, you know, you probably, you know, you become more of a team.
Yeah, and I suppose you probably know your own limitations a little bit more too. Like, you're kind of, you like to think that you're a little bit more rounded, but look at, I don't know, for the last couple of years I've had now haven't been exactly too prosperous in terms of personal level, but you like to think you bring something. You bring something to the.
You're still at it. You're still going as strong as ever.
Oh, look at, not really at this stage, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Great answer, man. Great answer. On the spot questions. What advice would you give a young Niall Mulligan breaking on to the senior setup?
Probably just to kind of back yourself a little bit more. Not that I did when I came onto the panel first, I thought, but I suppose you had such a good team then that it was hard not to feel like, if I make a mistake here, you know, if I have a bad run for a game or two, I'm out. Yeah. Or if I have a couple of bad wides here, I'm off. You know, that kind of way. Like you were looking at a forward line of yourself there. I think Frankie was, when I came in, Frankie was only coming back from doing the Achilles. So he was kind of trying to get back in the team. You had Paul Kelly and trying to get in the team. You had Podgy after breaking in onto the team. Wing there, forward as well. Cav was there. Paul Davy Barden, Paul Barden. Who else? You had Paddy Dowd.
James McGill was there.
James McGill. Like, you had a lot of, like, seriously talented forwards there. Like, so you just felt like I definitely just back yourself for probably just flexibility too, and make sure that you're kind of getting your body right, like not overthink the physical aspects of things, and make sure that the movement is there. Like,
yeah, cool.
I think that I probably, just with a few of the injuries that I've had, like, I probably should have reined back on a few things like squatting and that kind of stuff that wouldn't have flared up other injuries. So
I know you're
just to be cautious, like, be realistic, like. Yeah, just be realistic, like, of what you can achieve and what's the pros and cons to everything, like. But look at it, easier said than done.
100%, lad. 100%. That's great. Last one. Better defender, Dermot Brady with hair or Dermot Brady without hair?
It was definitely more annoying with hair. Definitely more annoying. Like, he'd wind you up with his hair. I don't know what it is, like. But
he's got cheeky.
Do you know what? He's definitely got cheeky. He'd wind up even more than ever, like. But he's actually the exact same all the time. I've never met a more consistent player ever.
Yeah.
He's like, since I was up at Slashers, like, literally every training session. I don't think you'll know it because you play with county with him. Like, every single training session is the same effort level, and
Everything.
Yeah, it's everything, and he mightn't win. Like we'll say, he mightn't be first in the running, but he'll be top 3.
Oh, definitely.
For everything.
Yeah.
And that's, as you were saying, for 20 years, like that's massive. Like even this year, like he's up with us there and he was flying, like, and you know, I'm looking at him thinking, oh, I'm not moving half well enough here at all. Like I can't even bring myself to this. And this fella is flying around the place, like, and with the hair, then you think, like, if you didn't know him, you think he was a under 21 or something. Like
you're like, oh no, it's younger he's getting.
Yeah, and I think everyone thinks it's a hair transplant, and I think he enjoys that.
I know it is, yeah.
He enjoys that too, like. But,
oh, of course he does. Yeah, she's playing up to it. But, very good.
Question.
Niall, thanks very much. That was great. Great chat, lad. And look at.
Yeah.
I'll be chatting to you. I wish you very best of luck now in the remainder of your career.
Cheers. Yeah. Well, that could be it now at this stage. This could be the swan song here.
Not at all. Not at all. Thanks a million for taking the time out, lad.
Yeah, sound cool.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Man.
All the best.
All right, Sean. Good luck. Bye.